Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. We've got some I Don't Work Here Lady stories, so let's jump right into our first story of the day by vent account for 2069. Nice. Former boss seems to have forgotten she fired me. So some backstory here because it's important. I used to work for a tech company based in the US, a small startup with a small team. From the interview pitch, it seemed perfect. I get to walk to work, it's in an industry I really like, music, and while the pay is way under my value, I get stock options and good benefits. Within the first month, things are okay. Not amazing, but I'm doing my best to make the most of it. My tech guy is nice and our HR/finance guy is chill. The other two, well, the first warning sign is that they fight. Childishly, I might add. If the guy, we'll call him Tim, doesn't know how to do something, he gets flustered and asks for help. The first few times I didn't mind it. Then realized he was asking me to do all of his work for him. That's not a great sign. Second warning sign. The chick, we'll call her Karen because she is one, blows up constantly. She also asks me to do her work for her. Did I mention she is the head of the company? I had to help her fill out her own W-2. That should have sent alarm bells off, but whatever, she's young. Maybe she's only ever worked on 1099 jobs, I don't know. Then the real issues start to rear their ugly heads. Anytime Tim and Karen disagree, it's a full-scale fight. Neither of them are actually doing their own work, so it's usually down to, well, why isn't this perfect? And whoever is being accused just looks at me while the other goes, I'll do it myself. Then gives it back to me with little to no direction. This goes on for months. The fighting only gets worse and worse, and it's bizarre because it's not dissimilar to a lover's quarrel. That's when I realize that's what it is. These two are dating. They didn't disclose this to anyone. Not to me, not to our staff, who is exhausted listening to them fight, and most shockingly, not to our investors, which is a huge no-no. Eventually, after months, I request to only work with HR guy and tech guy. To their protests, HR guy allows it, seeing that I'm pretty much going to quit otherwise. It starts out okay, but Karen keeps trying to overload our process with more of work she's supposed to be doing, still trying to get me to do it. Eventually, they hire he's treated like a glorified intern to do their crap for them. I hand over our master list of logins to him, delete the logins off my devices since I'm not responsible for the channels associated anymore, and get on with my work. Keep this in mind for later. For a brief stint, things are okay. Or at least I think they are because I don't have to deal with Karen and Tim anymore. But oh man, was I wrong. Out of nowhere, Karen and Tim leave town, inform all of us that we need to move to this new city and that I'll have to ship their crap to the new place since I'm the only one still in my city. HR guy was on vacation and tech guy is remote. I'm furious. I less than politely say, heck no. Sure enough, I don't have to convince them. COVID hits. Everyone had to work remote wherever they are now because flights aren't an option. I also refuse to move their crap. I finally had it and started looking for a new position, but with COVID well underway, I was screwed. It was this or unemployment. Sure enough, Karen starts ignoring processes and begins setting up calls at all hours that aren't productive and just waste time. For me, these calls are sometimes as late as 10 p.m. It's a mess. The final straw was when Karen and Tim angrily called me to request I do something, start fighting, forget I'm still on the phone, and start cussing each other out. I just sit there incredibly uncomfortable while they yell at each other, and out of nowhere, Tim calls her his future wife. Like, what the freak, guys? Hang up! Now, I could have hung up, but since I was friends with the other staff, I relay what I've overheard, and they inform me that they had no idea, and that's a big yikes. This eventually gets back to one of the investors, who freaks. The big checks stop coming in. I wonder why. As COVID rages on, the company just burns through money. I can tell that things are going downhill and brace for impact. Sure enough, I get terminated. Everyone does. Now fast forward to today. Out of nowhere, I get a call from Tim. They've misplaced several logins for their accounts. I direct them to the intern and apparently he doesn't have them. I help them recover the logins because I'm not a butt. And Karen, learning nothing, asks if I can help with a project for free. I don't think I've ever been more happy to say, "I don't work here, lady," in my life. Just to add some revenge salt, I give them my contractor rates, $50 an hour. I haven't heard back, but if I do, I'll update in the comments. I may not work anywhere right now, but God, am I glad I don't work in that heck hole anymore. So perhaps ignoring the result of this story, would you say personally that relationships in the workplace never work out? Or do you think they could work out? Do you think it's something that people should just never explore? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by mabelmann. Karen gets put down by a soldier. So I, 25-year-old male German soldier, was shopping for some food for dinner at the local supermarket. Usually I stop there 2 to 4 times a week on my way home in full uniform. That is why often some elderly persons ask me to help them with some things like getting them something from the top shelf or putting them a 6-pack of 1.5-liter water bottles in their cart, which is no problem for me at all, and often I ask them if they need help with putting it in their car cause it's no big deal for me. Now to Karen. It was one day when I helped an old grandma putting some heavy groceries in her car when I heard a lady behind me with that typical Karen voice. "Now that you're done, you can help me shopping." Me, who is irritated because I'm dressed in full uniform, says politely, "No, sorry, I can't help you. As you can obviously see, I don't work here." That was not the correct answer. She gets louder and said, "I pay taxes, so you work for me." That is somehow true, but not, and I said that to her and started to move over to my car. That is when I felt a very hard grip on my shoulder, and out of reflex, I grabbed her arm and slammed her on the parking lot, which caused her a big bloody nose. After a lot of screaming from her and a large conversation with the shop staff and some surrounding people who called the police, who looked at the CCTV, I pressed charges on her for assaulting me, and she, although, got banned from the shop. OP definitely wasn't required to help anybody at the supermarket, and nobody has the right to walk up and just put their hand on somebody's shoulder no matter who you are. This next story is by Witch Princess 42. Nope, not a hairstylist. Wholesome. In 2014, my private mobile started ringing with a number I did not recognize. I picked up and a quite old-sounding voice on the other end told me it was high time to cut her hair again and if I could give her an appointment. As I was in no way a hairstylist, I kindly told her she had the wrong number. She apologized and hung up. A minute later, my phone started ringing again. I told her again, sorry, but wrong number, and hung up. Just a minute later, my phone started ringing again. This time, she was rather desperate because she just couldn't reach her hairdresser, and she didn't understand because it always worked and why didn't it work now, and she really didn't want to bother me like that. But, you know, she was 90 years old and just this new technology and everything. So I asked her for the number of her hairdresser. Turned out it had the same digits as my mobile number, but it was a landline. She always calls her hairdresser from her landline so she doesn't have to dial the area code. At least, that's how it works here in Germany. But this time she had called from her new mobile. Turns out, her mobile number has the same prefix as mine. As the mobile company couldn't connect to any number without an area code, they just connected to mine because it was the same company and the same digits. So I explained this to her and that she always has to dial the area code first when on mobile or use the landline. She thanked me and hung up. 10 minutes later, she called me again, thanked me again, and talked a little about her grandkids. Since then, she has called me at least 4 times a year in varying time intervals because sometimes she forgets and uses her mobile without the area code. We always had a laugh and chatted for a minute. The calls eventually stopped and I was quite sad, but understandably, she was already 90 years old in 2014. Imagine my surprise when last month, my phone rang and she asked me for an appointment. She has to be 96 by now. I don't think she remembered me. Who can blame her at that age? but still was so sweet, apologizing and thanking me for my explanation. So no, I don't work there, lady, but thanks for your calls anyway. OP really had me in the first half there, not gonna lie, and it's not a positive thing. They were trying to make me feel sad. They're pulling at my heartstrings the whole, well, they were already 90 years old. But then they called me again at 96, and I'm glad that it was wholesome and that it didn't end on a very sad note. Our next story is by Bright Translator, entitled Karen Pushes Me to the Ground Over a Free Drink. So I, 14-year-old female, work part-time at a friend's parents' store, so I get to hang out with my friend and they get an extra employee. I usually love it, they are really friendly and I feel like I'm a part of the family almost. However, today I had my first interaction with a Karen. She came into the store and for this week, they were raising money for charity, so whenever you buy a sandwich, you get a free drink if you donate anything. So Karen came in and grabbed a sandwich and a phone cable. I scanned both and tried to let her know about our drink deal, but she just sighed and the conversation went like this. Look, little girl, I'm a regular. I think I would know if there was a deal on, don't you? I, trying to be my best to be polite. Yes, ma'am, however, it is only on for this week, so unless you came in yesterday, today was Tuesday, you would be unaware of this offer. Karen, rolling her eyes, and hissed, How dare you talk back to me? Get me a manager! At this point, my friend's mom had heard my situation and came out to help me. Friend's mom says, May I help you, ma'am? This little girl is trying to tell me about some silly offer you probably don't even do. Friend's mom says, What offer was it? I say, Donate for a free drink. If you donate, it's not free. Friend's mom says, Please lower your voice, ma'am, or I will have to ask you to leave. Fine, keep your sucky sandwich. Throws sandwich and charger on the floor. I bend down to pick this up. Karen screams, This kid's assaulting me, and pushes me to the ground before running out. I was fine, just a little shaken up, but really, all I did was offer her a free drink if she donates. People are confusing. That person is definitely confusing. I don't know what's going on with her. She sounds like she's tripping. I don't even know if I want to know what's going on in her day-to-day life. When they're acting like that, that's concerning. And pushing over a 14-year-old at a store? Something's definitely wrong with this lady. I hope she feels lucky that she got out of there so quickly because that easily could have been something where you press charges. Our next story is by El Rizzo64. Lady, I don't work here. Best Buy edition. So this takes place last year, so there isn't any social distancing or masks. So my girlfriend and I went thrift shopping once and she bought an old Best Buy uniform shirt. She ended up cropping the shirt and basically wearing it all the time. One time I had to go into Best Buy to get something and she was with me. So we go into the store and find the speakers. I'm kinda just looking, trying to find one I like, when a woman approached my girlfriend. Excuse me, do you know where the TVs are? I don't remember what she said exactly. My girlfriend says, What? No? Don't you work here? You should know. My girlfriend says, What? I don't work here. The woman then points at my girlfriend's shirt and she noticed she was wearing a cropped Best Buy uniform shirt. I swear, the face she made was priceless. My girlfriend then had to explain to the woman that she didn't in fact work here, she just had a Best Buy shirt on. And surprisingly, the woman was super chill about it. I still laugh at my girlfriend to this day. She does still wear the shirt, but not while we are shopping. I guess there's just something magical about that blue Best Buy employee polo or something. Maybe it's comfortable, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why the girlfriend would want to wear the Best Buy employee shirt so much, because it sounds like what OP is saying makes it out to be like they wear it kind of frequently enough to really make it stand out as a part of their normal day-to-day ensemble. And our final story of the day is by Brave2512, Wholesome I Don't Work Here Lady Story. So I had just gotten off from work as a registered nurse in my blue uniform, and me and my husband went to the shops to go and get a few things. I have a particular grocery store that I usually go to shop because I used to work there and know where to find most things. Their uniform is red. On this day we were in kinda a hurry because we needed to be at a family event in an hour, so I was very confidently wandering the aisles grabbing everything we needed when I nearly ran straight into a very lost-looking older man. He looked at me in my uniform and asked hesitantly, "Do you work here?" And I responded with, "No, but I used to. Can I help you find something?" and he told me he was looking for the golden syrup and had found maple syrup and honey in different aisles, but not the golden syrup. I explained that the golden syrup was in the cooking section, whereas the maple syrup was with toppings, and led him to where the golden syrup was, right on the top shelf. He was quite appreciative and said I could easily go and ask for my job back, and we had a laugh, then finished our respective shopping. It's not super long or entertaining, but I thought it was a pretty good guess for him to pick the ex-employee out of the crowd. I find that if you carry yourself with a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose, you can very easily fool a lot of people that you work in a place, especially in outfits that when people see them, immediately in their brains, in their subconscious, they think, this person is working somewhere. So maybe in some minds it might easily equate to, well, maybe they work here, even though the outfit clearly doesn't match the color of the uniforms, but we'll overlook it for an older gentleman. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today, so if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comment section down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving the video a like and subscribe if you haven't, and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you did, whether it was just watching the video or commenting, subscribing, whatever you do. Thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. Any single thing you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I appreciate the heck out of it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, I'll be right here on the Storytime channel.